Hello and welcome to the Boys on the Bus podcast. This is your bus home following a 2-2 draw for Celtic in Bologna. If you hadn't watched the game and you'd just checked in and got the score, you probably would have been absolutely delighted with that result. And on one hand I am, but having watched the game, having had a 2-0 lead, you're probably feeling a little bit like me, thinking about what could have been and 3 points on the road. But I think overall it's a really good point. It sets us up to get through into the next phase of the Europa League. Again, there's merits in whether you think that's a good thing for Celtic given the landscape of the domestic title challenge. But I think you want to stay in every competition as long as you possibly can. And we've given ourselves a really good chance to do that. Apologies for the delay. I am waiting on Liam. I'm hoping he's going to join at some point here. But if he doesn't, I will fly solo and engage with you guys in the comments for about half an hour of that and see how we get on. As always, if you enjoy the show, give us a like, give us a share, hit the bell. You'll get a notification every time we go live. You can become a Boys on the Bus member for $1.99 a month. It just helps keep the diesel in the tank and keep things moving on the podcast. So overall summary, a point's a really, really good result. To go to Italy against any team, forget the form that Bologna are in, all that kind of stuff. To go to Italy and get a result, that one tonight, that's right up there with Atalanta for me from last season in the Champions League. And it was a very similar performance, certainly after we went down to 10, where the home team had a lot of possession, firing a lot of balls into our box. Trusty and Scales standing strong for the most part. Let's look at the lineup as we normally do. So manager had to make a change at right back because Araujo was not registered to play in the Europa League. It was a toss-up between Donovan and Ralston. For me, Donovan's the right choice, so I was happy with that. Trusty and Scales were always going to play. Tierney was always going to play. McGregor and Engels were always going to play. Hatate, probably the one real question mark in the middle of the pitch. We'll obviously touch on his performance in a bit more detail. Yang on the right. And then the question mark is who plays centre forward. If it's Maeda, then it's Tuneki on the left. If it's Kenny, then it's probably Maeda on the left and Tuneki on the bench. I give Tuneki credit for his cameo in the last game there. Obviously, opposition being quite low level, but he made a real difference when he came on for that half hour. Other side of it tonight, the inconsistencies you get with them. Wingers by default are inconsistent, but this one is very, very inconsistent, and it's probably what we're going to get is one good game followed by one pretty poor game. Obviously, different opposition tonight, different level of opposition, but Hatate then is he's kind of the one. It's either Hatate or it's McKayan or it is Negrin. And if you play Negrin, I think he gives you that goal threat, but he doesn't give you an awful lot in any other real part of the game, especially going back. And when we seen him come on later, I thought it was a strange substitution. I got that Tuneki was doing very little, but I didn't think Negrin was ever going to give you a really strong defensive performance. He's kind of, you're putting him on there to nick you a goal, and that might have been the thinking, all we want is the ball to drop to him once in the box and he gets you that strike. But game started brilliantly. We get the lead through the kind of goal that we would normally concede in Europe. goalkeeper passes the ball straight to Dyson Maeda. He was closing him down. It wasn't like some of the other goals that we've seen where Maeda's absolutely closed the keeper down and he's got in and made a tackle. He's just passed the ball straight to him. Maeda showed good composure to square it. He could have lashed at it, but he squared it to Hatate, and he was never ever going to miss. And we didn't even have time really to celebrate that one, and we almost scored another one. Yang has an effort which the keeper does his best to dive out of the road, but then flicks his hand up and gets a save. The ball almost still goes into the net. But I don't know if anyone thought in the build-up, we didn't really get another look at it, but I was convinced just on the live first view that there might have been a foul on Maeda, which would have been a last man decision for me. I don't remember seeing any replay on it. I did miss all of half-time, so it might have showed the replay of that at half-time, but nobody seemed, the commentary team certainly didn't mention that they thought it could be a potential red card scenario, but that was my first reaction. I thought Maeda was impeded a bit in the build-up to that Yang chance. And then another minute later, there was another chance with Scales getting an effort from a corner. So a dream start for Celtic, getting the early breakthrough, getting a couple more chances, and probably up until about the 20th minute, I thought it was your perfect away performance. You know, we'd got the breakthrough, we were comfortable, we seemed quite happy playing it out from the back when Bologna were pressing, and it was a welcome, surprising performance. You could then feel Bologna starting to get their way into the game. Trusty was starting to block a few opportunities, and that would become a recurring theme throughout the course of the night. Key moment then, I suppose, is the Hatate red card for 2 yellows. The first one is an absolute certain yellow for a foul on Lewis Ferguson. The second one, and again, I missed the halftime, so I didn't get to see this really slowed down at all. But my first reaction was it was very soft. Now, I've listened to a few other people talking about it, and they seem to think it was absolute naivety from Hatate. It was petulance from Hatate, and he's I don't know if lashed out is kind of the terminology, but he's flicked out his foot, and if he's done that, then you're giving the referee an opportunity to send you off, I suppose, and he needs to take responsibility for that. Again, my first thought was the guy's reached out, he's put his hand out into Hatate, and I thought that was a foul on Hatate. He's done very little, but if he has flicked out, then I suppose that's on him. And at that point, then you're really starting to fear the worst, because I was saying this to my dad, whenever we get down to 10 men, you almost feel the game is done at that point, because Celtic seem to just be backs to the wall then for the rest of the game, and the other team are shooting in, which is a complete opposite from whenever teams go down to 10 against us. We seem to struggle in both scenarios. I'm thinking this season in particular, when Aberdeen went down to 10, we struggled. They actually equalised when they only had 10 men. And Rangers in the League Cup semi-final, when they went down to 10, it wasn't like it was tonight, where it was just the Alamo. It was just attack against defence pretty much from the moment that Hatate went off. Just have a quick look and see your comments. Somebody's on there about the old dry January. I think it was you, Jim, say as well. Yeah, I'm still on it. I'd love a pint. I really would. I won't lie. But this will be the last dry weekend. So if I can get through, this weekend, which I will, then it'll be plain sailing, because I don't really bother during the week, and I'll then get a wee go at it Sunday after next. Yeah, there's a few comments there. Can you imagine that scenario if we'd still been under Nancy? Yeah, it would have been 5-6. It could have been absolutely anything. Yeah, and I think what you got in that Celtic performance, we found a way to get a result that we would be really, really happy with at the start of the night. And I suppose on balance, when you do look at that second half, you know, we could conceivably have lost the game. We've seen a different outcome so many times where they get a goal in the last 5 minutes, probably an OG off a Celtic player trying to clear his lines or something. So all in all, I'm taking the positives out of it. I'm taking that as a positive result. I think there'll be enough positive vibes around the camp for the journey home that they'll take a bit of momentum into Sunday. Obviously, there was a lot of running done. There was a lot of chasing. Sugarman, yeah, tonight he did work hard. I think when he's not getting the ball out on the wing and taking men on, you kind of that's what you're expecting to see from him. I agree. I thought Reegan was the wrong sub. I think any of those other two guys, Bernardo or McCown, they give you a wee bit more dig. Reegan doesn't give you that, and you know, he wasn't great at closing down. He might have been involved in the equalising goal where he could have closed down. I just thought there were other times, you know, he's not a great tackler. He kind of makes a token gesture, but he's not really trying that hard to tackle, and it's not his game. But yeah, Dan the man, great teamwork. I thought it was as well. I was saying they're tired legs. I think the positives that we can take will kind of negate the negatives of having to chase the game there for a good hour with 10 men. So fearing the worst at down to 10 men, but we actually then go and double our lead, and it's Austin Trusty, the man of the night, really, and again someone that I've been critical of. I think that game from the half hour mark onwards, I think that game suits him and Scales. I thought it was very similar to the game in Bergamo where they were firing ball after ball after ball into our box, and I think that plays to their strengths. I think they're good at defending their penalty area. I think the problem for both of those players, Scales and Trusty, comes when they're in possession and they're having to try and build a play and become creative players and make things happen going forward. I think that's where they both struggle. But in terms of that game tonight and balls getting fired into your box, those two look, I think it suits them. I think it's perfectly made for them. Stephen McGonigal referring to Hatate was stupid, give the referee a chance. Yeah. I think you're right. I hate players going down really, really easy and rolling about, and the guys on the touchline on the Bologna bench, you know, as if he'd absolutely wiped the guy out. And I thought the referee tonight, I thought there was a word that we used to use years ago, a homer, where he just gives the home team all the decisions to get as easy a night for him to get his pay as easy as possible. You're not going to get a hard time from a small away section. I thought it was a home decision. I thought there were other home decisions. He just seemed to give them everything that was any kind of benefit of the doubt kind of thing went their way. I know we criticise our own referees at home, but there's some really, really bad referees on the continent as well. Let's see. So Trusty gets the goal. Just wanted to pick up on that one as well. Engels has been normally taking the corners, but Kieran Tierney took that one, and you have to assume that that's been a conscious decision. That's been something that's been discussed and planned for Kieran Tierney to swing a corner in, because it's actually Engels that gets the flick on, and Engels is the guy that normally takes him, and then Trusty's in the right place. And you know, that moment of panic where you're going, is it over the line? Is it not over the line? I mean, it was in comfortably, but again, it's Celtic, and you just always worry that it'll not be given. But this one was, we're 2-0 up. We go in at halftime 2-0 up, and despite being down to 10 and knowing that it's going to be a really difficult second half, I think you're dreaming that we might be able to get the job done. And I had to nip out at halftime, but I was back for the start of the second half, and I know Maida had a chance right at the start of that. But you were going to think you might get one or two chances in the second half, and it transpires that we did, but we didn't get a good enough one to get another goal. But what I said about the Talbot game at the weekend there, if you're Auchinleck Talbot, you're going into the game and you're breaking it down into 10-minute chunks, into 9 mini games of 10 minutes, and you're trying to get through each mini game unscathed. And I think that's what our second half performance was. You were breaking it down into 5-10 minutes. So for the 50 minutes of the second half, can you get through the first 10? Can you then get through another 10? Can you get through another 10? And you know what? See if you can get to 70, then you know what? You've got a chance. We didn't get through. We almost got through to the hour, but you kind of I felt the goal was coming. At that stage, Negron's on for Taneke. Bologna hit the bar a couple of minutes before they scored. Then they got the goal. As I said, it kind of felt inevitable. You're hoping for a linesman's flag. On first view, again, I thought, there's a chance here. Nobody made any fuss about it. It was cleared within seconds. So it's obviously a clean goal. And it was given. And then you're starting to think, right, we really, really need to get through to about 80 here to give us a reasonable chance of holding out for a draw. We got through about another 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and then they got the equaliser. This one for me was disappointing. The wee guy on the right-hand side, I thought he gave Tierney a really difficult time in the first half with his pace. I didn't realise he was English. I think his name was it Roll or Rule? Jonathan Rule, something like that. Really, really quick. I've never heard of him before. I did a quick check on him. So he went from Norwich to Marseille and then on to Bologna. I thought his pace was frightening. And as I say, I thought Tierney struggled with him in the first half. I do think Tierney had a really, really good second half. He was putting his head and his body on the line. I thought he got to grips with the game really in the second half. But it's that guy Roll who scores the goal. And again, thought Negron could have done better. And the shot, it's straight down the middle. Joe Hart was giving Kasper Schmeichel the benefit of the doubt in that he would have been unsighted behind scales. I want my keeper to save it. I know he might have been unsighted, but it's right down the middle of the goal, and he's standing in the middle of the goal. Let me know if you think that's a bit harsh, and I am. I thought Kasper Schmeichel had a good game, and again, I am a critic of his as well. But I have to think I thought he had a good game, other than that one moment. I don't know if it took a deflection. I think he was just actually unsighted, but if I'm honest, I probably still want him to do better. And there were a couple of ones towards the end there where I thought he could have caught the ball and he was punching and things like that. But by and large, I thought it was an improved performance for him. And again, I'll need to look at the goal again. Instincts are I'd like him to have at least made some kind of attempt at it. But yeah, 2-2, and then at that point, I'm fearing the worst, to be honest. We make another couple of changes. Ralston comes on for Yang, and Kenny comes on for really, really good. Donovan, Trusty, Scales, and Tierney. I thought they were all very good. Ralston then comes on, gives Donovan a break at right back. Kenny then goes up top through the middle, gets a chance as well. Very, very wide. Wouldn't have expected him to score, but he came on, and again, I think he moves quite well. I think he gives a focal point. It'll be interesting to see. We'll talk a little bit about the new striker. It'll be interesting to see if he comes straight in for the weekend. And then we kind of got through the last 15 minutes and injury time relatively easily enough. I don't remember any sort of real heart and mouth moment. I thought we got through not too bad. And again, the four guys that I mentioned there, I think they're all worth a shout. I thought Colby Donovan played really, really well. Again, anytime he's come in, There's maybe been an odd game where he's made a few errors, but anytime he's come in, he's looked fine. He's looked really, really good. He'd probably miss out against Hearts for Arajo. Arajo just worries me a wee bit in a game like that at Tynecastle with the atmosphere, just with that tackle that he done against Dundee United. I think he's a risky one, but Donovan, no problems tonight. Liam Scales, I thought, again, backs to the wall. That's the kind of game where he's going to stand tall. That's what he specialises in. I thought Tierney came on to a really good game second half, but man of the match by a distance for the work that he done at the back and also getting the most the very important second goal that ultimately helped us to a point was Austin Trusty. Really, really good sound performance from him. The Europa League outlook then, we're in a strong position with the other games still going on. I think we've maybe only gained one place, but what it does is it means if we win the game next Thursday at home to Utrecht, we would be almost certain to go through. And there's a possibility that if we slipped up and only got a draw, there's also a possibility that we could go through with a point as well. So all told, I think we'll find a way to get the result next Thursday night, and I think we'll go through, and then we'll have a look at the draw and see where we go. And you just don't know from. And again, I was probably happy and probably guilty of being happy to kind of write Europe off because I really want the focus to be on the league, and I'm just a little bit concerned about the extra Europa games and the extra Scottish Cup games that Hearts will have free. They'll not have to play those games. But the other side of it is, if you're getting good results and you're building momentum and confidence, then I think the more games the merrier, and the adrenaline and the buzz will get you through. So look forward to next week. Look forward to hopefully getting the result and getting through to that draw, and then see what happens, because the teams that are in the competition, and you've seen it in the Champions League, even last year, Paris Saint-Germain only just sneaked through at the very end. I think they only got through in the last game week, and then they kicked on from the knockout stage onwards. They went on and they were easily the best team in it. In the knockout stages, and rightfully went on to win it, winning the final 5-0, but they only just sneaked through at the very end. So as long as we're through, we're in the hat. You don't know where this season could take us. You really, really don't know. So yeah, I think whereas I wasn't too bothered, I'm now embracing it, and I'm thinking, yeah, do you know what? Let's see where this journey takes us. But before next Thursday, we've got Sunday and our most important game of the season at Tynecastle against the league leaders Hearts, who've got a 6-point advantage over us. I do think this is our cup final in terms of the league. I really, really do, because if we go 9 behind, I think that's going to be a really, really uphill struggle. I won't throw in the towel. Hearts have got a difficult. I was plotting out their games, and I think they've got quite a difficult 6 games coming up in the league. They've got one that's maybe not too bad, but the other 5 are what I would put in the difficult / banana skin category. And I mean, if we can go there on Sunday and get a win, I genuinely think we could catch Hearts over the next few weeks, because I think that would dent them. I think getting knocked out of the cup, then losing to us, and then those games, like I say, that I think are quite tricky. I would expect them to drop points in them. It's always possible that we're going to drop points as well, but as we've seen under Martin, the team just has a way of getting the result, and as long as he keeps doing that, as long as he keeps just chipping away at these games and getting the wins, if it's not pretty, it's not pretty. The points are the most important thing at this juncture. I was worried about the Hearts game when they were at full strength, and when they just had that momentum that they kind of lost with going out to Falkirk, and then the loss of the players that they've lost. Shankland, really big loss. Cammy Devlin, massive loss. Beningame, suspended, a massive loss. And there's also a chance that they could be missing, I think it's McEntee and one other player that's played quite a bit for them. So it could be a patched up side. Now, that's not to say that we're just going to go there and stroll it. It's still going to be a very, very difficult game. It's going to be a difficult environment. It's going to be hostile. Tynecastle's a difficult place for Celtic to go, even when we are on top form and we're sweeping all aside. It's still a tough game, and it's one that you go there knowing that you're going to have to play well to get the job done. And despite the guys that Hearts are missing, I think we're going to have to pull in a big performance. I'm more confident now than I was maybe a week ago. It draws the absolute minimum, but I think given the players' Hearts are missing, I think we have to go all out and win the game. And I'm confident. I'm now coming down on the side of confident that we can get the job done on Sunday. Definitely one I'm looking forward to. It's going to be a cracking game. Few people there just going on about the atmosphere. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be raucous. Lauren comes in, thinks we'll win on Sunday. Hearts are depleted. We're gelling a bit. Celtic to win by at least 2. I'd be absolutely delighted if we were 2 or 3 up at half time, and I hope it's not a stressful one on Sunday. I could do without a stressful one. Time to put the diets in their place. Hearts are running out of steam. They've been very, very lucky, Ian, that they've not had injuries up until this point. They were naming a really, really settled side, and that was giving them a lot of continuity and allowing them to build up consistency. But what it also meant was the same players were playing week in, week out, and eventually that does catch up on you. And they would have had to be extremely fortunate to go through the whole season without having a period here where they start to lose players. We've got the day 22 up in the corner there, day 22 of the January transfer window, but we finally have a striker in. His name is Thomas Zvanchara, is my pronunciation, and that's just based on the little clip that I've seen on YouTube where he was asked how did he pronounce his name. Cannot profess to know an awful lot about him. If I just look at his numbers, I'm not overly excited. However, there's been loads of strikers thrown at us, mentioned to us. Agents have been putting names forward. I trust the guys that are at the helm, and I mean the football guys, as in Martin and Fozzie and Sean. I'm going to trust them with the ones that they go for. Martin's already said about the players that he's turned down. It seems like Tisdale's list is in the bin for the most part. This guy is probably one that if we'd signed him straight from, I think it was at Sparta Prague, if we'd signed him straight from there, up with his record there, we probably would have been really, really excited about him. But because he's had a lean spell, because he's been out of favour, and he hasn't got an awful lot of goals, it probably feels a bit underwhelming. But Martin O'Neill, in his time at Celtic previously, had a really strong track record of turning guys' careers around that had slightly gone off the beaten track. Not going to compare him to guys like Sutton, Thompson, those kind of guys. But Martin O'Neill was able to take players who'd had a big move for big money, hadn't quite worked out, and he was able to reinvigorate them. And if he can do anywhere close to the same kind of job with this guy, then he could be really, really good for us. Be interesting to see. I do the old YouTube to get a look at him, and what I was worried about was quite a lot of his clips cut out before the ball hit the net, and that's obviously because the ball didn't hit the net. But I'm not sure he'll start. I don't know if he'll start on Sunday. I don't expect him to start. I do expect him to be on the bench. And do you know what? It would just be like Martin O'Neill if this guy that we've waited for a whole year comes on as a sub at Tynecastle and scores. Would not surprise me one bit. The girl on BT Sports there, she did mention that we are to expect at least 2 more players to come in. I would expect one of them to be a centre back. And again, it looks as if Martin's going for the type of centre-back that he always had in his teams. The big 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" man mountain at the back. So there's two of those that we've been linked with. We've been linked with the lad that plays at Eintracht Frankfurt. Can't quite remember his name. AA. His first name begins with A and his surname begins with A. He's a Swiss player who's trying to get into their squad for the World Cup. And then the other one is the German player. Where does he play? He is in Austria. Both of those look as if they would be really, really good additions. Apologies, I can't quite remember their names. So I'd expect us to get one centre back in. I think there will be a right winger. The name that seems to be prominent in the last few days is Hatate from Crystal Palace. So again, Lawrence, that's right. Lawrence is one of the centre backs. Thanks for that, Patrick. Lawrence is one. Hatate is one that's mentioned. There's been a few other, but I think those will be the two positions that will definitely get someone in, centre back and right wing. I would still be then wanting, to be honest, I'd be wanting another striker. Perhaps even one that is going to be more appealing than Tomo. I definitely would be going for another striker. And then the lad that was mentioned from Leipzig seems to be one that some fans are quite keen on, albeit he seems to have he's had a difficult time of it with injuries and whatnot. What you see with a lot of the players that we're being linked with at the moment, they're players who have maybe had when I say big money move, I'm talking big money for Celtic, 6 to 10, 12 million pound. They've had a move like that and it's maybe not worked out for them and they're available on loan or on a cut price, or players who have struggled with injury and by default their value has reduced because they've not been playing an awful lot. I seen one headline the other day and it kind of just summed up everything around Celtic in the transfer window. It said, Celtic eye injured striker in cut price deal. And that just tells you absolutely everything. We're looking at players who are injured or have got a history of injury and we're looking for bargains. And we used to talk about the aisle that we were shopping in, and we felt that when we had that window where we signed Engels, Trusty and Ada, that we'd moved into a different aisle in the shop. But where we're shopping in this window is definitely in the out of date, reduced section, about to go out of date, because again, some of these names that we're mentioned with now, their contracts are about to finish in the summer and we're trying to get in there on a cheapo. Out of date, about to go out of date, or damaged goods available at a knockdown price. And that is just where we're at. But we trust the guys that are at the helm. I certainly do. Performance full of heart and spirit that shows this team buy into O'Neill and Maloney. We lose that 4-0 with Nancy. I couldn't agree anymore. We'd have got absolutely battered there tonight under Wilfred Nancy. And I think our best hope of success this season, it's not going to be the action that the board take. It's not going to be the players. It's going to be that management team and what job they can do with what's the best they can do with what they've been given. And I trust that they will get the absolute best out of what they've got. Whether what they've got is good enough or not remains to be seen. But let's take the positives out tonight. My voice is getting sore just being on my own for the half hour. Really looking forward to Hearts. I'll see you guys after the game on Sunday. Let's hope it's a win for Celtic. Let's hope our season is just about to get into top gear. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. There's 150 in the live. I would like to stay on, but my voice is getting sore. I actually put the kit on tonight, and I might be wrong on this, but that's the first game that I remember is wearing this kit. Did we wear it in any other match? I thought it looked good, and I went and stuck it on. I just thought it looked good with all the players with it, with the green shorts. I thought it was quite decent, and I don't remember us playing in it during the season. We may well have done, but anyway, I went and stuck it on. But see you all Sunday. Thank you very, very much for joining me, and hail, hail.